This story happened in the 19th century, when Great Britain was still powerful and the fashion for everything unusual, natural, exotic took Europe by storm. Let me remind you, dear readers, that the British literally dreamed of jewelry in the ancient Roman, Greek, Egyptian style. That was the fashion of the middle of the 19th century. In addition, Charles Darwin himself, with his theory of the origin of species, made a significant contribution to the views of people reading books. City dwellers sought to be closer to nature, and therefore mercilessly decorated their own clothes, hats, and bodies with real insects. Enjoying exoticism, the rich framed crawling and buzzing creatures in precious wrappings. Or rather, they placed such orders with famous jewelers. One day, the second Earl of Greville did the same, and he planned to present his wife, the second in the account. The first one died, an unusual, perhaps a little shocking gift. Although, if we take into account that in those times such jewelry was very common, then Lady Greville could not see anything frightening. Yes, I almost forgot. Lady Greville's petals is not only a gold tiara, but also a necklace and precious earrings. In other words, a real jewelry parure. Except that instead of sparkling mystical emeralds or mesmerizing spinel, the garniture is decorated with real beetles, very reminiscent of Egyptian scarabs, sorcerous insects associated with the sun god and the otherworld. Look how beautifully the backs of these large insects shimmer, with stunning sunbeam reflections. The bugs on display are actually South American weevils. Their coloring is a perfect match to the yellow gold. Although, if you look at jewelry with our eyes, people of the 21st century, jewelry with insect remains is not a good idea, and is suitable perhaps only for African tribal leaders. However, having studied a little bit the history of jewelry art of the 20th century, I realized that I was wrong. The rare parure is also unique in that it has survived to this day. At least in 2012, it was presented in the historic exhibition centre Olympia, in the heart of England, in London. Connoisseurs of history and jewelry admired the preservation of the jewelry set. Could it be that Lady Greville was not very fond of green bugs, and the woman simply did not wear them? The backstory of the appearance of the parure is very interesting. In 1884, George Lavison Gower, the second Earl of Greville, as British Foreign Secretary, negotiated with foreign guests. He succeeded in concluding an Anglo-Portuguese trade treaty by which the two countries delimited their spheres of influence on the Congo River. The Portuguese ambassador really wanted to turn the case in his favor and somehow placate, perhaps to bribe the Count. But in that situation, it was not ethical to pay openly with gold coins or present jewelry. So the diplomat came up with a clever combination. He presented Greville with a huge collection of those very longhorn beetles to commemorate the treaty and Portugal's natural wealth. At the same time, the ambassador noted that the beetles were as beautiful as green emeralds in jewelry. The Englishman understood the subtle hint and immediately decided to order a golden parure for Castal's wife, Rosalinda. Mole, do not lie the same weevil's idle, such beauty is lost. He turned to the jewelers of the firm Phillips Brothers. The masters worked tirelessly, creating an exotic tiara, festive necklace, and pendant earrings made of yellow gold. And in 1885, Lady Greville received the most fashionable at that time jewelry in the Greek, Oriental, and Egyptian style at the same time. In the 20th century, another Swiss talented jeweler, Gilbert Albert, a resident of Geneva, remembered about outlandish insects. Since 1955, the artist and connoisseur of precious stones worked in the jewelry company on the models of the best watches. He came up with stunning sketches for mechanical chronometers. But then the jeweler decided to fulfill long-standing dreams, to seclude himself in his private workshop and create something unusual, something long forgotten. It was Albert who began to use hard shells of various beetles, returning to the natural jewelry era of the 19th century. After all, the planet itself has created such colors and shimmers which human thought is unable to repeat. He framed the elements of insects with rare pearls, magnificent diamonds, and noble gold. Thus, the Swiss jeweler was recognized as one of the most unusual designers of the 20th century. I think that modern noble ladies certainly did not refuse his shining beetles. If you liked it, don't forget to give it a like, subscribe to the Jewelry Stories channel, and click on the bell not to miss new videos.